Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jumping High in Gemini. We have a Gemini new moon tomorrow, local time. Do check for your location. It occurs in Brisbane about 1 o'clock, Tuesday, the 27th of May. There's a lot of hot air around this new moon. So many planets in Gemini, air, and many planets in Aries, fire. Of significance is the transit of Saturn into Aries after being in Pisces since March 2023. He follows Neptune, which moved into Aries at the beginning of April this year. The conjunction of these two planets at 0 degrees Aries is a significant shift in global energy. And this actually doesn't occur until February 2026. But in the meantime, these two planets engage in a little dance. Now, this conjunction doesn't necessarily mark a sudden occurrence or event, but it does indicate a subtle shift in the way we think and feel about many aspects of life. While these two planets have been conjunct before, their conjunction in Aries, the energy of bold, pioneering action, has been several hundred years apart. And there's actually no recent history of a conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, which is considered a world axis point and which shifts the world consciousness significantly. We have no recent history with this energy. But do check out what Australian astrologer Jessica Adams has to say. I'll put the link below. Neptune's role is to dissolve what no longer works. Neptune also influences the creation of new and amazing ideas. Saturn's role is to give it all boundaries. We know that when we dream, there are few, if any, restrictions. We just dream. But this energy comes in at a time when we as a collective are becoming more aware of other planetary influences in our galaxy. Kuiper belt objects seem to have the potential to influence our consciousness in quiet, subtle ways, especially when aspecting another planet in our personal chart and in the galaxy. You may be interested to know that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are all planets relatively recently discovered. They appeared into human consciousness at times when humans had evolved to the point where these energies could be appreciated and integrated into the evolutionary cycle. Uranus was discovered in 1781 by astronomer William Herschel. It was at a time when the world was discovering technological advancements like steam engines. These advancements were transforming society from agrarian to industrial economies dominated by machines. Uranus has an orbit of around 84 years and represents technology and new ideas. And historians will claim that this revolution has so far several phases. The industrial in the 1800s, the technological in the 1900s, and now in the 2000s, the digital evolution or digital revolution. Now, Neptune was the first planet to be discovered using mathematics in 1846. It has an orbit of approximately 165 years, so a bit longer than that of Uranus. And I'll put a link down below so you can check that out for yourself. It was around this time that apothecaries, another name for what we call pharmacists now, started making wholesale batches of botanical drugs like morphine and quinine. They also started isolating active ingredients from natural plants and medicines to develop the first synthetic drugs. As we know, this has exploded into a vast pharmaceutical industry. Neptune is also associated with altered states of mind and consciousness. How were they deceived that to extract the essential ingredient is not actually the optimum solution? It turns out that it is also the other elements of the plant that allow the essential ingredient to be absorbed and effective as a health solution. Next, we move to Pluto. Pluto was discovered and appeared in our consciousness around 1930. It has an elliptical orbit. That means that it's not a round one. It goes in an ellipse of 248 years. Pluto energy in astrology is associated with destruction and rebirth. It's considered a transformative energy. Hence the creation of the nuclear bomb a few years after Pluto's discovery. There is controversy over its classification, but whether you call it a planet or not, its energy is still strongly felt. The Kuiper Belt that I mentioned before is a donut-shaped region of icy objects beyond the orbit of Neptune. It is home to Pluto and most of the known dwarf planets and some comets. The region is named for astronomer Gerard Kuiper, who published a scientific paper in 1951 that speculated about objects beyond Pluto. Now, just like the outer planets, some of these dwarf planets are creating insignificant energy influences on our Earth planet. It seems to be at a time in our human evolution when we are attending more to the spiritual aspects of our being, having addressed most of our physical requirements and needs. I'm just going to speak about two of those Kuiper Belt objects in this edition. There's many more. Haumea is the Hawaiian goddess of fertility, being able to birth children from all over her body. Currently, Haumea is in the early degrees of Scorpio, with the potential to violently destroy and consequently rebuild. For me, Haumea in my natal chart is conjunct Pluto in Leo in my natal chart. So my generation is about birthing psychic unity as we incorporate Haumean energy into our consciousness. I guess that's what I'm doing right now. Again, references below in the notes. The Sedna story is sad, but regenerative. She rejected the husband selected for her. Her father agreed to take her out to sea in his boat for her to escape. But a storm came up, and she was tipped out of the boat. And when she clung on with her fingers, her father cut them off. What sort of father was that? They became beautiful sea creatures. This dwarf planet has themes of deep connection and ancient wisdom, as well as being on the edge of the known world. She also has an elliptical orbit of approximately 11,500 years and is currently at 1 degree of Gemini. Now, with the energy of Mercury, Gemini, she's encouraging us to engage in deep personal transformation. At 1 degree of Gemini, her energy is connecting favorably with Pluto and Neptune-Saturn conjunction. And these connections are encouraging powerful Pluto ideas and creative, practical Neptune-Saturn solutions to some of the challenges we are facing in our current world. So, what in your life is needing transformation? What aspects of your life need creative transformation? Where is Gemini in your chart? So now moving on to the practical aspects of Gemini energy. How can we use this energy productively for our lives? Gemini is governed by Mercury, which is to conjunct this new moon. Hence why I am attempting to stimulate your mind with information about the outer and dwarf planets. Gemini is about communication, learning, logic, and quick thinking. Gemini energy is also quick and restless. It's a good time for short trips and paying attention to your car or whatever vehicle you use. It might be one of those scooters or electric bikes. I don't know. Communication can include conversations, written words, and internet connections. Just be aware of what presents on the internet. Is it AI? That is not always so, but use your mind to not only discern what is AI, but also to question that information. AI isn't always correct. Gemini energy is usually good with arms and hands, supporting those who have handyman or other creative skills. Combining these skills with intellect can provide new and unusual solutions to everyday problems. So, where is the new moon in your chart? From a health perspective, Gemini governs the lungs and breathing. And here I am with a Gemini ascendant with a long-term lung issue. I'm sure the condition would be much worse if I did not practice yoga and focus on useful breathing techniques along with aerobic exercise. So perhaps you might want to check out my yoga breathing video. My project, the development of yoga for happy hormones, is moving along at a steady pace. I'm feeling the need to share with others what has allowed me to travel well into my 70s in excellent health. The yoga path is not only about being able to put the body into particular postures or asanas, but also about what else supports physical and mental health. I'm turning to technology to help me share this information. Playing with ChatGPT to help me create copy for my revised website is interesting and fun. Using recommendations from others, I am researching suitable platforms for presenting online lessons. And just yesterday, I was presented with a YouTube piece that suggested that social media may not be the best way to share yoga for happy hormones. What do you think? How much time do you spend on Facebook? What about Instagram or TikTok? Please let me know. That may very well help me. And who do you know who would be interested in learning more about a way of life that can lead to a healthy and happy life after 60? Please share and refer. Every month I have a little story. And this month I'm choosing the story about the movie world. Life is not just about astrology and yoga for me. My friends from Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary dressed ourselves up in fancy clothes and we went to the Gold Coast Film Festival Awards night at Movie World. It was an evening to acknowledge those who put the films together, the writers, the directors, the producers, the makeup artists, and so on. And I apologise if I've left some important people out. I don't know about film industry. But it was lovely to see so many young local talents acknowledged and so many young women. I also enjoyed being with folk who dressed up and looked fabulous. We experienced lots of the dramas and special effects that go with making films. A very Neptunian experience. So now, folk, that will do for the moment. Practice your breathing in Gemini. Think outside the square Have a happy, healthy month. Bye for now.